Erin Delmore there in New York. Now, a group of older Swiss women have won the first ever climate case victory at the European Court of Human Rights. The women, mostly in their 70s, said that their age and gender had made them particularly vulnerable to the effects of heat waves linked to climate change. The court said Switzerland's efforts to meet its emission reduction targets had been woefully inadequate. It is the first time that the powerful court has ruled on global warming. So let's talk now to Cornelia Meyer, Chief Executive of Meyer Resources in Switzerland. Cornelia, good to have you with us. And just explain this for us. It's quite a landmark case, isn't it?
It's an extreme landmark case because it was the first time that the European Courts for Human Rights made that link between climate change and anti-climate change measures and being a human right. So in that sense, it's a landmark case. And especially on the sort of the Social Democrats, the Greens, the mid-left in the country is very happy. Now, that's one thing, and one can empathize because Switzerland does suffer from climate change. The glaciers are melting. The problem, though, is climate change is not something that's confined to the borders of a country. And Switzerland, Luxembourg and Liechtenstein alone will not make or break any climate change measures. You need to get the big polluters on board as well, like the United States, India, China. And that's where you have, for that global problem, a global framework, which is the UNFCCC framework, which puts on the COP negotiations.
Yes, and that's why I think, Cornelia, many will be surprised that the court passed this judgment based on a very specific group of people, so older women over the age of 70, in somewhere like Switzerland that, if you look at it, doesn't look particularly susceptible to climate change. We're not seeing famines, droughts, extreme weather phenomenon, and yet the court found for them. I wonder what that then changes in the way that Switzerland responds to things like emissions, but also Europe thinks about how are we going to deal with this, and could another case like this come at us?
Absolutely, and I think that's it. It's a landmark case, and we will see a slew of other cases coming on the heels of this case from young people, from other climate activists, and that will be a real problem. Now, in defense of Switzerland, you know, the Swiss population has voted last autumn to get to net zero by 2050. Now, again, that's voting on the what and not on the how to get there. And that's the conundrum, because there are also cases out for Shell that they should do more. And they argue, well, there's also energy security. So we are in that trilemma between energy security, climate change, and obviously also affordability.
Yeah.
So this is not easy, and small countries alone cannot solve it. That's why we have the COP negotiations.
Cornelia, always good to talk to you. Thank you for explaining that for us. It really is a landmark case, isn't it? Cornelia Meyer there of Meyer Resources joining us from Switzerland.